Hey guys, K-Dot 357 coming at you one more time. I'll be leaving in a little while. I've got to get ready and do the night shift thing at the police department. But I want to get one more video up here, and this one is in regards to church security. And by the way, a lot of you know we do free church safety security seminars here at our store, and try to do them once a month. Matter of fact, I've got to get one on there for February. I'll probably get that on, have that posted by tomorrow. Generally, we try to do it at the end of the month. Try to do it on a Thursday. Usually runs from 7 to 10. And we have a good time here and share a lot and things like that, and try to learn a lot and bounce ideas off each other. So, but what I want to talk to you about is just two things real quick. There's, of course, I could sit here and go on and on and on about many things, but I'm just going to throw out some couple of bullets here. One of them is, okay, so you've got your safety and security team, right? All right, so where are these individuals going to be posted at? Well, let me throw this out at you, because I've had a couple of churches not to disagree with me, but, well, let me tell you what I'm talking about. All right, listen, 70%, these are stats now, 70% of bad things happen on the church property, not inside the sanctuary, on the church property. 30% happen inside the sanctuary. So what do we need? We need ushers and greeters, or we need people that are outside in the parking lot greeting people and patrolling the parking lot. Some churches say, well, you know, I want my congregants, all of them, to be able to hear the message, and I totally agree with that. Couldn't agree anymore. But you must have these individuals out there roaming the parking lot. Of course, obviously, the worst case scenario would be what happened down in Texas. And I don't really like the armchair quarterback stuff. If anything, you know, when we have tragedies, we like to learn from them, right? I'm just saying, if there would have, that would have been a scenario there where if there would have been, well, first of all, there wasn't a security team in place, but if there would have been a security team in place, I'm not saying that people still wouldn't have died, but what I'm saying is you would have had personnel on the outside that would have identified this threat before we got to the footsteps of the church. Unfortunately, that didn't work out that way. But listen, there are many, many churches across this country, just like in Texas, where that shooting happened, that they don't have personnel outside. Well, a lot of them don't even have security teams. But if you're going to have a security team, you need to have staff outside roaming the parking lot, not only for the worst case scenario of an active shooter, but you have vandalism, you have theft, intoxicated subjects, things like that. So the job for the staff outside, of course, is to make sure that these individuals don't get inside the sanctuary, right? They don't get inside the sanctuary. Because remember, 70% of this stuff happens outside, so we want to stop it in its tracks out there, not let it get to the congregation. You know, I can go on about two-way radio communication at this point, and the effectiveness of two-way radio communication. What I like about that is immediate. You don't want to use a cell phone. You don't want to text or anything like that. When you got a guy that's walking across the parking lot with a rifle in his hand, two-way radio communication, you're wearing the buds. That way individuals that are inside the sanctuary, the congregants aren't alarmed, and these individuals inside can go outside and assist staff outside. Let me move on to one other thing real quick, and then I'm just going to cut this video off, and I'll be bringing other bullet points. If you see behind me, we have a B-27 silhouette target, widely used across this country, very widely used in law enforcement. If you're going to have a safety and security team, your folks that are carrying guns, there must be some standard, okay? There must be some standard. We can't eliminate liability. You're never going to be able to eliminate liability, but we can reduce liability. We can do that by having standards that must be met. Okay, in law enforcement, this course of fire starts at the 3-yard line and goes back to the 25-yard line in North Carolina. State minimum standards is 70%. There's some agencies, if I'm not mistaken, Southern Pines PD requires that the officers shoot 85%. Okay, of course, if you can keep everything inside this 8 ring, that's 100 from the 3-yard line all the way back to 25. You've got to have some kind of standard, because if your guys and gals are going to be carrying, and if you decide to go along with it, we're going to go on with this BLET, Basic Law Enforcement Training Course of Fire. I think that's a great standard, and we're going to use that. It's not that difficult of a course of fire. So If you got a subject that only put up like a 45, you got to think about it. I'm always mentioning in my concealed carry classes that in a gunfight, you're going to be about half as good as in a gunfight as your best day on the range. And what that simply means is there's no way that I can induce that epinephrine adrenaline dump that the good Lord put in you, that fight or flight, okay? I could get your heart rate up and things like that, but in no way does it compare when someone's trying to hurt you or kill you, okay? So in other words, in stress on the body, on the mind, your skill set is going to be reduced somewhat. And of course, I could get all into training as well. I'm huge on training. You know, training, the way you train is what's going to come out on the other end. It's a great predictor of how you're going to act in a real situation. But folks that are running these teams out there, for gosh sakes, you got to have some kind of standard. It just really is worrisome to me where I hear church security teams throwing a team together, just haphazardly throwing a team together and saying, okay, you got to conceal carry, you got to conceal carry, you got to conceal carry. Okay, good. Y'all want to be on the team? All right, let's be on the team. You post here, 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 next Sunday, this, that, and the other. You don't even know how these individuals can shoot in relaxed conditions, much less under stress, okay? I mean, you have to know how these individuals can perform on the range. You don't have to use the BLET course of fire, but I think it's a great standard to be used because it's a very doable course of fire where you're shooting from prone, from kneeling. Granted, you know, if you're back from the assailant from 25 yards away, hopefully you've got options, and one of them is just, of course, running away. Of course, if you're protecting congregants, you know, you're just like me as a police officer. You run to the threat, right? You don't run away from it. But you, just like me and any other civilian out there, if you have to go use deadly force against someone, a bad guy, most times it's going to be between 3 and 7 yards, realistically between 3 and 5 yards. So what does that mean? That means it happens up close and personal. They got a rule in a gunfight called the 3 3s. It says that the average rounds fired are 3 rounds, happens about 3 yards away, which is 9 feet, and it's all over with in about 3 seconds. Well, I'm going to tell you, 3 seconds feels like an eternity when it's really happening, okay? So that's the 2 thoughts I want to leave you with. You're going to have a safe security team. Please have some people outside roaming that parking lot and posting. 70% of bad things happening out in the parking lot. You're going to have guys and gals carrying guns. I think we need to know how they can perform. So they qualify, and they qualify once a year, so we know that they maintain that proficiency. I'll leave you with that because this video has almost got 8 minutes long. I said it was going to be short. But anyway, like I said, look on our website, CarolinaFirearmsTraining.com. We do host these seminars free every single month. Try to do them toward the end of the month, and I'll try to get one posted for February real shortly. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon. Stay armed, stay safe.